slipper fits. Today, the unheralded Rams from Rhode Island take on the powerful Syracuse Orangemen as round 2 begins in this NCAA tournament. Rhode Island already has upset Missouri at the Big 8. Syracuse battled its way through North Carolina A&T, and now they come together in this sub-regional matchup. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger along with Billy Packer. Well, Billy, yesterday in Indiana, the defending champions shocked by Richmond. Now Syracuse moves center stage. They lost the title a year ago. This has been such an unpredictable season. Who knows what will happen now on this Saturday and Sunday? Billy, we know Syracuse. We're so familiar with them. Probably so is the audience. But what about these Rams of Rhode Island? What to expect here?
Well, Brent, we always say to do well in the NCAA tournament, you've got to have a great backcourt. And Rhode Island thinks they have the best backcourt in the United States with Garrick and Owens. They played exceptionally well throughout the course of their careers, did well in the NCAA tournament, and could lead them today.
Now, one of the question marks about Syracuse, the physical condition of Sherman Douglas. He was under the weather in round 1.
He was under the weather, obviously did not play up to par. He has not been able to take drugs, which will develop later on. But Sherman Douglas, you know, always comes to play in major ball games, and certainly this is one for the Orangemen.
And for the Orangemen fans, what about their power forward, Derek Coleman? He's been in a scoring funk of late.
He really has, and I think Syracuse can dominate any college team in the country when he is playing well, because Cycli can come through. So we'll have to see which Coleman shows up today.
Now, Tom Penders of Rhode Island says fans will enjoy this. We won't change our game. We're coming up tempo all the way against the Orangemen. It's Syracuse and Rhode Island. That'll be next on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of today's NCAA Basketball Championship second round game from Chapel Hill is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by Alamo, there are over 4 million miles of roads in America, and with Alamo, all the miles are free.
The Florida Keys stretch like an old clothesline for 130 miles. Down here, the locals are called conks. Their ways are old-fashioned, and so are their values. And in a way, ours are too. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, all across America. And whenever you rent a car from Alamo, the rates are low, and all those miles are free, including 130 miles, called the Florida Keys.
That's great. But we wanted a Bud Light.
Bud Light! If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Now go get pizza.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road. No time to wonder, you gotta go.
Aggressively styled and powered to match. That's Grand Am.
Get on your Pontiac and ride. Pontiac ride.
And now with $400 back direct from Pontiac, you can really cash in on Grand Am excitement.
Get on your Pontiac. Rebuild excitement. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina.
North Carolina.
Can't you see the sunshine?
It's all Carolina blue down here. And one of the great passions is college basketball. Welcome, everybody, to the Dean Smith Center, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We begin the second round of this NCAA basketball tournament. Little tug-of-war out there between the Ram and the Orangemen as we get set to begin what should be a dandy up-tempo game all the way. Now, if there is a difference between these two teams, keep in mind that the Rams a little bit undersized in that front line. Now, you would expect Penders to drop back into his own defense. That's not what he's got in mind to start this game. Now let's go to Kearney Andrews for the starting lineups.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dean Smith Center for today's East Region second round game between the visiting Rhode Island Rams and the home team, the Syracuse Orangemen. Now let's meet today's starting lineups. For Rhode Island at forward, a 6'7" junior from Brooklyn, New York. For Syracuse at forward, a 6'9" sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 44, Derek Coleman. For Rhode Island at forward, a 6'6" 6'5" junior from Cambridge, Massachusetts, number 23, John Evans. For Syracuse at forward, a 6'4" sophomore from Los Angeles, California, number 32, Stephen Thompson. For Rhode Island at center, a 6'9" junior from Suitland, Maryland, number 50, Bonzi Colson. For Syracuse at center, a 6'11" senior from Athens, Greece, number 4, Ronnie Cycli. A 6'2" senior from West Warwick, Rhode Island, number 22, Tom Garrett. For Syracuse at guard, a 6'5" sophomore from Manlius, New York, number 3, Matt Rhode. For Rhode Island at guard, a 6' senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 10, Carlton Owens. For Syracuse at guard, a 6' junior from Washington, D.C., number 20, Sherman Douglas. And introducing the head coaches for Rhode Island in his second season, Tom Penders. And for Syracuse...
So it'll be Syracuse against Rhode Island as we start the second round. The tallest man for the Rams to start will be 6'7" against these Orangemen. Back in a moment.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
From a land where rare wood and fine leather have defined luxury for centuries. Where craftsmanship is the most precious gift a father can bestow a son. Where they revere tradition, yet reserve the right to change it. A car like the Sterling was almost inevitable.
Set to begin round 2, and the referee today is the veteran Don Rutledge of Windermere, Florida. And as you see how these two teams have fared, Rhode Island looking for its first win. This is also big for the conference, the Atlantic 10. They'll square off against the arch rival in the East, the Big East, not only today, but how about tomorrow when the top team, Temple, takes on Big John Thompson and the Hoyas of Georgetown, noon Eastern time. Here, Rhode Island controls the opening tap. They're not shy. Garrick hits the game's first field goal. Tom Garrick, one of the two senior guards. Now here comes the pressure. This is what Penders has in mind. About 3 minutes from now, he'll fall back into his zone. A matchup, but he'll keep changing. He may have to do it earlier if they attack it as easily as they did that time.
Fred, of course, you want to spread the court out some, but you would think that Rhode Island would want to tempo Syracuse a little bit. Their bench is not deep. They go with just about 6 fellas most of the time, but these guards are sensational. They're used to playing 40 minutes.
That's Owens, the left-hander. So Garrick hits his first. Now Owens his second. Is there a better pair of guards in the country, Billy Packer?
I don't know. They've been under that cloud, of course, of the great Temple team this year, and of course the Big East media blitz puts Rhode Island team to the point that you don't see them a lot, but they certainly have played well at every chance they've had.
Rowe missing his 2, and now the Rams come out 3-on-1. Right to the glass. They are 3 of 3 starting this game. Are they intimidated by Syracuse? I don't think so.
Nobody's any better than these 2 guards so far if they turn the lights out and call this game off. Haven't missed a shot.
Holman runs down his own rebound and draws the game's first foul. That's Cena, the transfer student. How much have these 2 guards contributed to the offense? Look at that, 78%. Now that's points and assists for these 2. In the first game, they each played 20 minutes in upsetting Missouri. They took 39 of the Rhode Island 66 shots, 54 of their 87 points. Douglas penetrates inside for Boeheim.
This game really doesn't have a setting yet. You see Rhode Island just taking it to Syracuse. Syracuse really seems to not decide how they want to play this game.
Human after all of that top third. This is before Cycli followed up the shot, and there's the second foul and the first on Owens.
There's an example, Brent. Ronnie Cycli taking a 16-foot jump shot before they get a chance to be in their offense. I think if Syracuse doesn't have the automatic break, they ought to really go to their power game inside on Cycli and Coleman and force the smaller Rhode Island team to play them down in the post.
So frequently during the year, you see teams try to slow it down a little bit and play a tempo game against the Orangemen. And it's unusual to see what the smaller Rams are attempting here at the start of this one.
There's an exact example of what I'm talking about. Let Coleman and Cycli play with them down on the inside. Caused a lot of problem for Asina, who transferred from Seton Hall. Certainly doesn't have the size or the power to play a Derek Coleman inside. The other thing, Brent, that's a good idea about that, Coleman, as you point out at the top of the show, has not done the job offensively, and maybe it'd be good for Syracuse to get him off to an early start.
He struggled at the free throw line, needs to concentrate, still just a sophomore. He had a great tournament a year ago and leading the Orangemen into the final before they were beaten in the last second by Keith Smart. Now there's no more Indiana, an upset yesterday by Richmond. Puts them away, and now the Rams come back down to the attack. Because of that size advantage, look for Penders to change up and go to that matchup zone before this game is too old. It's a one-point game right now. Rhode Island leading. This is Garrick. Takes it back, and he'll fire. Cycli reaching up over the top, and he was dueled by Evans. It'll go over to the Orangemen. The smaller Evans trying to get a handle on it, knocked it out of bounds, and here comes the full court pressure.
The 1-2-2 full court zone press with Evans on the ball. One of the guys that really does well normally against this as a finisher is Stevie Thompson.
Coleman puts it right on the floor and comes in, and he traveled.
Coleman saw Colson waiting on him there. It'd have been smart to take it right to the basket, tried to finesse him on the end.
Wears that black mourning band because of the death of a boyhood friend back in Detroit who was shot in a tragic accident.
Talking to the man who was shot, Owens still has a bullet in his arm from being shot prior to his senior year in high school.
Garrick now forced back out. Here is Owens. It is the left elbow. Notice how he shoots today. Because of the bullet still lodged in there, it became sort of an unorthodox motion. The joke is that he has a little bit of difficulty getting through those at the airports when they the metal detectors.
I'll tell you what it did help him do, though. It helped him develop his other arm in terms of the way that he can go either hand with the ball.
Garrick spins and comes up firing.
Beautiful jump shot.
Boeheim wanted the offensive foul call.
I think Jimmy's reaching on that one. Garrick's got a good body on him, and they didn't put a lot of it on. Just a fake out.
Douglas with the lob. And the foul called against Monzie Colson.
Now, Colson thinks it's the foul on Cycli. Colson is, here's the lob. Certainly a good play. Colson was there. Cycli went over his back. They called it on Colson.
Here's what's developing against Tom Penders. 14 fouls already on the Rams and none against Syracuse as Cycli goes in for the layup.
Give Syracuse some credit here. They recognize what they can do against Rhode Island. Tom Penders going to have a hard time with that type of attack. He's going to count on these two guards to keep him in the game, and they've been able to do it all year long.
One of the best big men is the sixth man for this Rhode Island team, Ken Green. Now, Waterbury, Connecticut, he'll be in soon. Colson comes up firing. They'll look you right in the eye, this bunch. They played Temple 3 tough games, got better with each game, although they were beaten 3 straight times by John Chaney's Owls.
It showed me a lot in that Atlantic 10 final when they got down by Temple and then came back and took the lead. Cycli's wide open inside. Colson playing on his back.
Nice move by Cycli. No one will forget the game he had against Florida a year ago. The left-hander Owens runs down to his own miss. Knocked out of bounds, Rhode Island's ball.
Owens is so quick, Brady. Very seldom even touches the floor when he runs. It looks like he's just right on top of glass. That was really quick. Brooklyn-type kid that understands how to play the game. Been playing on the city playgrounds for many years.
Great shooting to start this game here this afternoon in Chapel Hill. Owens missing the 3, an offensive rebound. They step inside Coleman and clean up. Boeheim will be unhappy about that.
You know what's happening, Brent, is Coleman and Cycli, playing against much smaller people, I think they can go over the top and get the rebound so they're not blocking out well.
Here's the general. Short. Cena with the rebound. Rhode Island quickly to the attack again. Here comes the left-hander, Owens.
Beautiful pass.
And a great block by Coleman. He didn't buy the fake. He stayed right with it. Tom Penders looks like he's been recruiting in Honolulu.
Well, he was. That's where he started that tan in Hawaii. But people don't know how he's kept it in Rhode Island. I think he may be one of those tanning booth guys. He won't reveal the secret. Syracuse goes to the zone, 2-3. They've had a hard time handling the guard play.
Let me, despite the tan, folks, you probably don't know about him, but he's one of the better coaches in the country. He has turned this program around in 2 quick years. He took over only 12 days before the season began 2 years ago. There's a lot of jobs open, and they're thinking about Penders. Cena nails the 3 from the outside. The forward takes the shot outside for Rhode Island. This is some start for the Rams.
That was about 25 feet that he hit that jumper. Beyond the NBA line. There's a lot of motivation for this club. You know, none of them recruited by Big East schools to speak of. Cena went to Seton Hall and transferred out when he didn't get any playing time.
They've answered one thing quickly. They are not nervous. They give the layup to Cycli. They have not been rattled. They are a loose bunch, I'll tell you that. The coach figured they would be. He said it, but you never know if coaches really have a handle on it. Now, Garrick drew the foul that time as he came up firing, and he'll step to the free throw line. And as he comes to the line, I want you to know that this is one of the great stories in college basketball this year, is this young man right here, Tom Garrick. It's his family. His father, Tom Garrick Sr., is here, and he is blind. He has been blind since an incident right there in the middle with the glasses. Now, that's Tom's brother there on the right who is yelling. That's his sister, Stacy, on the left. They are his eyes here this afternoon, if you will. He tried to cover a mine during the Second World War. He's been blind ever since. He met Tom Garrick's mother. That was his nurse. He has never seen his wife or this young boy. And everyone else has been his eyes through the years. Just one of those great heartwarming stories. And here he is with the Rhode Island fans watching this young man right now. And it really moves you when you hear that story. So Tom Garrick nails his free throws. And Rhode Island looks good here in the opening moments.
Mitsubishi knows you want a truck to be tough. But we also know you want more for your money. Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks give you more. Up to 2.6 liters of power, a 5-speed stick, more standard features for less than Toyota, Nissan, or Mazda. Even the lowest priced macro cab. The new Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
Every 10 seconds of every hour of every business day, America puts a brand new Epson computer or printer to work. Imagine that. Businesses of every kind and size putting the power of Epson into millions of hands. Every 10 seconds, another new Epson. It's true. When you've got an Epson, you've got a lot of company.
If an MCI customer has a problem, we'll work on it, even into the middle of the night. Maybe someday, we'll work 9 to 5. At least that's what I tell my wife.
Until you call, you'll never know how much better a long-distance company can be.
Compared to the pieced-together frame of a typical lawn and garden tractor, the frame of a John Deere is a single mass of welded steel. And because it isn't made of pieces, it doesn't go to pieces.
Two great champions in their final competition, Debbie Thomas versus Katarina Witt, the World Figure Skating Championships next Saturday night.
With Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger at the Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Now, Rhode Island hit 3 of 4 3-point shots, so they enjoy a 7-point lead right now. Make it 19-12. Last night in the East, Temple pushed hard by Lehigh, and Lehigh can be very proud of that performance. That game was closer, and I hope you saw Charles Smith hit that 3-point shot at the end of the game, just like Thompson diagrammed it. The play he wanted all the way, but what a monster that sets up tomorrow at noon. Georgetown, Temple. Cheney and Thompson, two men who've known each other for years, square off. Thompson gets in for an easy layup. Billy, give me an overview now about
right thing on offense, obviously spreading it out. Colson setting good screens. The ball up quickly. Their real problem, I think, as this game develops, Brent, is what are they going to do to stop the inside game?
And what is Syracuse going to do to stop the inside game at the other end as Evans hits too, Billy?
Well, I think they've relaxed down on the inside because they're so preoccupied about the great guard play of Rhode Island. Second walk of the game. And now Jimmy Boeheim upset. And what he's upset about is the fact that Coleman's been left with the responsibility totally to bring the ball up the court. I think Syracuse has totally underestimated what Rhode Island can do to them physically.
This Rhode Island team may have been underestimated by Missouri. Watch Garrick off the fake, and Duncan, who has come in, fouled him as he made his move.
You see, again, an isolation that time for Garrick. And what's so tough as a guard, when you're playing guys of this ability, they had 25 and 29 in the game against Missouri, is the fact that you don't know if you're going to be screened or not. Colson comes out and gives you the solid screen from the back, so you're worried about him. They don't need the screens to beat you with one-on-one moves, as was seen right there by Garrick.
We're at 13:34. Pender still has not had to employ Kenny Green off the bench. That is very important because of an arthritic knee, and sometimes it's difficult for him to come back on one day's rest. Douglas with a great steal of the ball.
Evans was wide open that time. Colson didn't see him. Colson's down. Somebody's got to be open.
Sitting on a 7 as Douglas brings it to the attack now, and Thompson maneuvering again inside. Now, Stephen Thompson bailed him out the other day against Missouri, and here he's backed up field goals for Boeheim. Garrick, it's the 2.
Boeheim is really getting frustrated.
Well, that's 11 points for Tom Garrick to start this game.
You know what you might see against this team, Brent? A triangle and 2. You've got to do something different to stop them because one-on-one they're taking the Syracuse guards. Now Rhode Island goes to a little zone for the first time. 2-1-2.
They'll match up out of it, too. He'll change whether he takes the cutters coming through or just employ it as a straight zone. Pender's fully figured to drop back and use this zone, but he got more out of his man-to-man than he expected here at the start of this game. And right away, Coleman gets on the inside, and those points start to add up for Syracuse down in the paint, Billy, that you've been talking about.
Stevie Douglas, of course, wants to get down in the middle against that zone. Straight man-to-man by Syracuse. Evans just eating them up inside.
He appears to be a little bit too quick for that inside defense. Now Douglas gets it into Duncan's hands, and they move the ball to Thompson.
He's the finisher on that press. It'll be tough to press them. And I think with Duncan in the ball game, it really frees up Sherman Douglas to not have to handle the ball quite so much.
Garrick getting on the inside, and he drew the foul from Coleman. That's the first personal on Coleman and the 4th team foul on Syracuse. Remember how this game started? 4 fouls for Rhode Island, none for Syracuse. Turned completely around now, and it's 4 apiece. Now there is the inside scoring, reflecting how the Orangemen have been shooting those layups.
Yeah, they are just dominant on the inside. Here's that substitution you want to talk about, Brent.
This is Ken Green, an arthritic knee. He doesn't work out as you would expect. He frequently goes to a swimming pool and runs in place to build up that knee. He is out of Waterbury, Connecticut. The left knee. He is perhaps their best inside man.
Freshman of the year last year in the Atlantic 10.
What a spectacular shooter Garrick is.
He really is a great shooter. He's got good body control, not afraid to go inside on the drive. Perfect form.
Jinxed him on that one, didn't I? 4 of 5 from the field for Garrick now. It's a 24-20 lead, a 4-point margin here in this game.
There's that 2-3 again. This time they're following Stevie Thompson all the way through. They have to keep their eye on him because he can really fill the middle of the hole of that zone.
And he has hurt Rhode Island down on the inside. Thompson's off to the left over there on the wing, if you will. This is Douglas out on top of the lob pass, and it was short and right into the hands of Cena. Douglas got a hand on it, knocked the ball out of bounds. Rhode Island's ball.
Fred, there's no question that Sherman Douglas has been slowed down. He just doesn't have that spark that he normally has out there.
Both teams start off red hot. 11:25, first half. Tom Pender's Rams of Rhode Island gaining respect in this particular tournament.
2 street fighters out there. Sherman is such a great competitor, as is Owens.
Well, they may be able to shut down Owens as they get the ball in deep now. And Kenny Green with his first field goal, and it's easy for the Rams down on the inside.
Evans has got inside. Garrett got inside, and Green. And here's Here's that matchup 2-3 zone.
Cycli wants it.
Nobody.
Great weak side help by the Rams. Did you see them come over and help out on Cycli?
And Brent, nobody there to rebound for Syracuse, so you have Coleman on the inside with Cycli, and Rhode Island doing a great job boxing them out.
So the foul is against Cycli as Coleman sits down, and Derek Brower sees his first action for Bayhut. I want you to pay attention to this defense. And we get an opportunity when they come back down and see how they swarm to the ball. This is a very well-coached basketball team.
Well, he did it at Tufts, Columbia, Fordham, and now here did Tom Benders.
Green misses, only got one shot. This is Thompson out of the Los Angeles area. Matt Rowe, number 3 there. He is the outside factor for Syracuse. He's the three-point expert, the marksman of this team.
A little better pass that time by Thompson, and Rowe would have had himself an opportunity for 3, but Garrett did a job defensively, just out hustling him.
Cycli down in the hole, forced out very high. And Douglas sealed up very well. They break out of it. And Garrick drives in for another layup. That's 14 points for Tom Garrick.
At 29 against Missouri, 50 against Rutgers, and the Atlantic 10 was the MVP of the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Douglas responds. And Rhode Island comes right back down, playing up-tempo here at the offensive end. Colson moves his shot to the outside.
Again, the penetration that time, Brent, by Owens set up the easy shot. Rhode Island is not at all in awe of Syracuse. That's obvious.
Right from the start, you could feel that, Billy.
But given the outside shot to Stevie Thompson, which is wise.
Offensive foul that time. Goes against Thompson. That's his second. Well, we got a break on the floor now at the 9:34 mark. Rhode Island up by 8, their biggest lead.
From a land where rare wood and fine leather have defined luxury for centuries. Where craftsmanship is the most precious gift a father can bestow a son. Where they revere tradition, yet reserve the right to change it. A car like the Sterling was almost inevitable.
Make red. Be red. Make blue. Be blue. Make colors as bright as life. Make colors feel like colors feel.
The brilliant colors of life. Trust RCA to bring them to you on Precision Performance Big Screen TV. Only from RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Round of lights here?
Ask for Bud Light. The light beer with the first name and taste.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
Well, it's 30-22, Billy, and Rhode Island with the lead.
Here you see the 2-3 zone. Now, what happens here is Sherman Douglas feels that there's a hole right down the seam of the zone. He drives, which is what you want to do, and split it. But look at the great play by Garrick. And he takes off on the other end, and of course his great teammate Owens knows exactly how to feed him. He drives in, and Brenny's off to a sensational start.
The winner of this game advances to East Rutherford, New Jersey, and will play the winner of Duke SMU. That'll be the second game of the doubleheader here from Chapel Hill. At the conclusion of this game, we'll be sending you to Notre Dame, Purdue, and Memphis State in the Midwest region. Purdue favored, and we'll see what Coach Bench comes up with Memphis State here this afternoon. Turnover is very important. Those Rhode Island guards not only can score, but they protect the ball. It has been an impressive show so far by Tom Pender's unheralded Ram team. This is Kenny Green. Good move by the big man, but he was off the money. Colson, an offensive rebound.
They went right to Green with Brower on him. Syracuse staying in that man-to-man. And I really believe Syracuse is going to have to go to some kind of junk defense to stop this club, Brett, because they don't match up well man-to-man.
They will let Thompson have that shot on the wing. You could see them back off. Here's the one they must fear outside. Oh, misses, and Green comes back down now. Gehrig quickly into the hands of Silk. This is Owens. Here comes the three. They knew it as he released it. Boeheim must stop it right now. Syracuse in trouble early.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
My grandfather was a carpenter. My dad's a carpenter. Yes, building things is in my blood.
The Sawcast from the Industrial Tool Division of Black & Decker. Tough ball and roller bearings, cut steel helical gears for precision and power, job after job.
You know, you start in the morning, there's nothing. And at the end of the day, there's proof you've been there.
Ask a man who's used one lately. Nothing beats a Black & Decker.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
Whether it's the roar of an available turbo or 16-valve engine, Grand Am is sheer driving excitement. And now, with $400 back direct from Pontiac, you can really cash in on Grand Am excitement.
It's come down to this. Take a walk on the wild side.
They call it March Madness.
Tom Penders has some excellent help, and that man right there came out of UMass. He wasn't the scorer that Julius Erving was, but he set a lot of records there, and he could wind up their next head coach, Al Skinner, and he has helped Tom Penders out. The coach saying, make sure you mention my assistants today, especially Skinner. I couldn't have done it with this program without them. Now Rhode taking it against the pressure in the backcourt. Rhode Island on a 12-2 run over the last 3 minutes against the favored Orangemen of Syracuse.
Dangerous pass.
Into a trap, and Rhode dribbles it free and gets it on the inside to Brower, and beautiful by Green, who skied. Here come the Rams.
He may have an arthritic knee, but he can get off the ground. He is just going over the top of Syracuse bigger people.
Look at this Rhode Island team as Cena puts it away. 3 blue jerseys by the Grants.
Cycling, of course, not in the ball game at this time, but Rhode Island just wanting this ball game much more than Syracuse. You got to figure, sitting under that media blitz of the Big East, this club has to sit there, read the papers, watch all the TV games, hear about everybody that can play. Most of these guys were not heavily recruited, but they are playing very well right now.
Slick move on the inside. Didn't stay down. Thompson almost had a chance for a three-pointer. He'll step up to the free throw line. You mentioned the media blitz, Billy. Let's go back to a year ago. It was the darling of that state. Rhode Island completely overlooked, even though they enjoyed a fine season. And Penders' first year as the coach there, with Cycli coming back and Brower sitting down.
You can see Derek Brower's got blood all over the sleeve there on his shirt. Got hit earlier in the ball game. And you know the other thing, this club being right under Providence, or in Providence, and living under the Big East, even when you sometimes beat a Providence, as they did this year, you don't get total credit for it. They can't stop you in the NCAA tournament.
Two great matchups between these conferences, not only here today, but tomorrow. Georgetown and John Thompson against Temple and John Chaney.
You see the other thing, Brett, with these two great guards, Syracuse can't press at all, so they can't force any defensive pressure on them. And the way Rhode Island's shooting right now, they're just not able to stop them.
Colson missing. He had hit from there earlier today. Douglas quickly into the hands of Rowe. The three won't stay down, and Rhode Island goes hard after the rebound.
They're getting every rebound.
Open is Cena, and Kenny Green almost saved it.
I think they say that hit underneath the backboard against that stanchion. Garrick question whether or not he should have thrown that pass. It was a real gamble. Had to be right on the mark.
Duncan back in for Syracuse. And also John Evans, number 23, reports in for Rhode Island. Cena sits, right?
Yeah. Gives him a good leaping back line there. Evans could get up on the boards.
Started in the man-to-man, played it for almost 8 minutes. Now they've gone to the zone. And a foul call on the inside.
I think we had officials going 2 different ways there. It is going to be a charge, however, in the final analysis.
It's going to go now on the charge, and that's number 3 on Thompson.
That really hurts Syracuse because he's been the finisher against the press. Good call. Stevie Thompson tried to weasel on through there. No opening at all.
So Douglas wanting to report in. Rutledge wants to huddle here with his umpires.
I don't know what the call is.
Well, Boeheim is getting an explanation.
He's saying that he put his hand up saying it was a charge on the play. He's wondering why there's a shot.
Well, they're over the limit. That's the 7th foul on Syracuse, Jimmy, so that's why they're going to shoot against you right here. And Evans moves up to the free throw line.
Well, also player control is what Jimmy's question. If it's a charge, they shouldn't be shooting. And he's got a problem with Stevie Thompson on that bench because Thompson is the perfect offensive player to finish off against the press.
So he'll go now with Douglas and Rowe in that, along with Duncan. He'll try 3 guards here against Rhode Island, trailing 38-24. We move inside of 7 minutes now in the first half.
Brent, Rhode Island shot 27-34 from the line against Missouri. It's a great free throw shooting team, almost 75%.
Deep to Coleman. Their most effective player getting in behind the Rhode Island defense here in the first half.
Well, he can crossover dribble.
That's Owens missing that time. Cycling with the rebound puts it into Douglas's hands.
Good job by Green coming out to take away Rowe's jumper.
Penetration and Cycling's all alone.
Tough to find some holes in the 2-3. See if Tommy, he's going to a timeout. See if he doesn't change his defense up.
Penders ahead by 10. Will bring the Rams together.
Here we can see that defense cycle. He's going to bring the defense with him to one side. Derek Coleman goes on the weak side, goes up over the top of everybody for the good lob pass. Something Syracuse does as well as anybody in the country.
We've got a moment here. We can take a look at some other scores from last night. Some of you may not have been up with Jim Nance and James Brown into the wee hours of the morning. Murray State upsetting Jim Valvano and North Carolina State by 3 points. And then Kansas coming on 85-72 over Xavier. That's in the Midwest region.
But that game surprised me a little bit. I thought Xavier would give Kansas quite a run. Larry Brown doing another fine job in an opening round, and that ends Xavier's streak right there. I thought they'd make a good run in the regional.
All right, Iowa with 102 points over Florida State last night, so they advance to the West region out in Los Angeles. Southwest Missouri State, they played their hearts out last night and lost by 4 to Jerry Tarkanian. Great crowd representing both those schools on hand last night. Tim Brandt and Bill Raftery bringing that action. It was a dandy. Now you who are watching this game will get an opportunity next to see Florida-Michigan coming your way from Salt Lake City. The first of 3 or 4 games that you'll be seeing today, as we'll have coverage of all 4 regions. Here we'll come back later this afternoon and have Duke SMU. So from the Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, with Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. Rhode Island trying to become the Cinderella of the East region. This is a year in which we're going to have 4 Cinderellas, it looks like. There's a summation. 20 Rhode Island points from that backcourt, 14 of them scored by Garrick. For Syracuse, they've had only 4 points, both of them field goals by Sherman Douglas.
And when you look at the front court scoring, it's almost a flip-flop of that. So both teams attacking in different ways.
This is Garrick bringing the ball up for those of you who just joined us. Muscular senior. The left-hander Owens, known as Silk, 10, pounding the ball right here.
Good double screen inside for Garrick.
This is Green, their talented six-man. Colson almost had a handle. Now he hustles back out, and Rhode Island comes up with it.
You know, Brent, Rhode Island's been doing a great job off the offensive boards. Syracuse not blocking half. The triple Rhode Island team picking up a lot of second shots.
Derek had to push Douglas away from him that time. Hard to handle both these guards. Douglas going after Owens, and Owens came up over the top of him for the three-pointer.
That's just a great, smart play by Owens, who realized that Sherman Douglas had turned his head to help out. He offset down the sidelines.
The score is accurate, folks. Rhode Island has jumped all over the favorite Orangemen. Cycli turns around.
Syracuse has no problem scoring inside. Their problem is stopping Rhode Island. And I don't think they're going to do it in a man-to-man.
Difficult to shut both those guards down for Coach Penders this year. Green short, and Cycli comes up with it. Time remaining first half. This is Duncan. It's a 2.
But we saw in the Big East tournament how Duncan coming into that lineup really made Syracuse a different ball club, and he's doing it here again today. They're playing their 3-guard team right now with Rhode playing as a forward.
Now Owens will bring Douglas around. Down to the baseline and coming for the field goal is Green.
This club passes very well as a team. Assist turnover ratio is good from almost every player. There's
3 by Rhode quickly, and Garrick comes right back down. Inside to Green, and that time Coleman came up on him and fouled him. That's 2 on Coleman.
Coleman is lucky that ball didn't come flying back up. He'd have had a tech. Here's that good team passing I was talking about. Excellent hook pass. And there's Green going in. Cycli, who's normally an excellent shot blocker from there, can't handle Green's leaping ability.
One of the impressive things about this Rhode Island team, all 5 players contribute all the time, either offensively or defensively. This is a unit that works extremely well together. Some basketball teams will notice 2 or 3 standouts, and you don't get the 4 and 5 men into the flow of things. But that has not been the case here this afternoon for Tom Pender's Rams.
But Brent, with the exception of Colson, all of them have excellent turnover-assist ratio. So when you have guys who can pass the ball inside the way they can, you cause a lot of problems, particularly for a team like Syracuse that's looking to block shots as opposed to getting good position on defense.
Now they press the ball, becoming a little more aggressive here, and they come up with the steal. Change up again by Penders, who's doing a superb job. Owens keeps the 3 and nails it. That's his 4th here in the first half. He's 4 of 5 from 3-point range.
Brett, do they understand each other? You know, it reminds me of Sidney Lowe and Derek Wittenberg, these 2 fellas. They know exactly where each guy is at all times.
Where would they have lit the 3s up? Noah Evans comes straight to Garrick. Garrick, you do it! Green on the follow. How do you do?
But you've got to play with each other for a long time to do that and have a great feel for the other man's speed and leaping ability.
Douglas is short. Coleman with an offensive rebound steps outside with his shot. This is just the start of what could be one of the most unpredictable weekends ever. Short with that shot.
That's about the first long rebound that Syracuse has picked off today.
Duncan's 3.
Look up at that scoreboard, Brent. We're at almost the 50-point mark already. This looks like it's going to be one of those 110, 106 type ball games, and that's why I think Syracuse is going to change their defense and go to something kind of crazy for a while, because they're not stopping these fellas in man-to-man. Yeah, and they play. Of course, they play an entirely different style. These fellas have just been very efficient every time they've been in their half court.
Green missing, and now Syracuse getting a little run going, even though they've been outplayed now. They're only down by 9. Rose 3, and he cuts it even further, and now Syracuse right back in it. 49-43. Here are the Orange men at the 2:30 mark of the first half.
I notice Green coming down the court, walking a little slow right now. He may be getting tired.
Owens maneuvers. He's not tired, but they're starting to miss an offensive rebound on the other side. There, they missed the second shot that time.
With the score here, Penders may have to go to another timeout. He can
Douglas into Coleman with a slick pass. Fine rally here by Syracuse. Cycli blocks it free into Cena's hands.
Great idea. He almost got the drop pass in there. Tom Penders didn't want to waste another timeout, but his club needs one right now. Even with 2 minutes to go in the half, they're very, very tired.
Because Syracuse is on a 10-2 run against them right now with Herman Reed, number 33, checking into the game for the first time. And Sherman Douglas sitting down in front of that Syracuse bench. Remember now that he is playing despite a bad cold, touch of the flu even, before the North Carolina A&T game.
Syracuse goes to the 2-3 zone. Green goes right in the middle.
Got it in low, and Evans with a left-handed wraparound that time, and 7 points for Evans. That's a 51-45. That was a big field goal for the Rams.
But another example of great interior passing.
Cycli's finger roll. It's awfully easy on the inside for Syracuse.
Reed, now what Jimmy Boeheim's going to try, and I think it's a great idea on his part. Put a big man on Garrett for a while and see if he can shoot over it. Pretty good move by Boeheim.
It is Reed.
Yep.
Here's his first try on him, and he went right up over the top. Used the screen that time, however. He had help. It's 17 points for the senior guard here in the first half.
I bet you Jimmy Boeheim, his mind is watching that shot and said, well, maybe the big guy get a hand in his face, and Garrett puts it in there anyway. But I think it's an excellent coaching move on his part.
Syracuse is on a great run. They've hit 10 of their last 11 field goals here in the first half.
And they ought to go back inside again. Stay in there.
Puts it on the floor for the drive, and that could be offense.
Cycli's staying down on the floor. He's just annoyed. Pretty tough to drive from the foul line all the way inside if you're a man of his size, and Ronnie Cycli should know better than that.
Little courage showed there by Evans. Take that charge from Cycli, his second personal here of the first half. So at halftime, we're going to be sending you back to our New York studios. Jim Nance and James Brown, not only will they have some of the highlights from last night, but they'll be taking a look at Gene Katie's Purdue Boilermaker team. Then they'll set the menu for you for the entire afternoon. Florida, Michigan out west, Purdue, Memphis State in the Midwest, back here for Duke, SMU. Then it's North Carolina, Loyola Marymount. What a day if you're a basketball junkie. In fact, what an entire weekend. And tomorrow, don't forget, at noon again, we come back with the Big East against the Atlantic 10, the #1 team in the country. Temple, coached by John Chaney, takes on John Thompson's Georgetown Hoyas. The Hoyas surviving last night. Key move in the game is when Thompson finally went to the aggressive defense in the second half, and that turned that game around against LSU. And then Charles Smith hit that, well, we'll call it a prayer. I hope you've had a chance to see it. Maybe Nance will show it to you again at halftime. That was some shot.
Brent, what's interesting, you know, I've talked to all the kids around the Big East and said, what player would you least want to have his hands on the ball coming down the wire? And almost all of them will say that they don't want to see Charlie Smith at Georgetown with the ball.
Syracuse doesn't. He beat them up in the Carrier Dome on that drive with time running out. Now Rowe is trapped at the 36-second mark.
That was all Rowe could do, because that was 2 points for Rhode Island. Unfortunately for Rhode Island, Evans was actually out of bounds when the ball touched him. Good hustle, though. They really trapped Rowe beautifully there.
34 seconds left.
Are they going for one? 56 points, a lot of points to put up in a halftime against the Syracuse club. You know what they're going to do here? They're going to clear out, try to go down to their low 1-4 offense with Sherman Douglas taking somebody. And that's going to be Garrick right in front of him. There he is.
Douglas down the baseline, got it into Coleman's hands, and he traveled. But they underneath,
and it's Syracuse.
Syracuse possession. They'll have 3 seconds to get it off.
Now, Jimmy Boeheim doesn't want to go back in with Cycli to try to throw the lob right over the top, so it's going to be Coleman taking it out. I think a good move here would let Sherman Douglas take it out and try to throw the lob to Coleman right under the basket.
They've also got Rowe if he wants to back up, and they want to fire the three here at the buzzer.
Tommy Penders with a smart move, getting Garrick out of there. Doesn't want any cheap foul right here before the half.
Douglas covered by. Been giving him the play-by-play. They are the radio announcers, if you will, of this action. Colson hits the first field goal of the second half. 8 points now for Colson.
And Tommy Penner's smiling over in the sidelines because what you'd expect is anything but Rhode Island to open up going inside.
Blocked, and Evans fouled Cycli. Cycli in the act of shooting. He'll be at the free throw line. Remember, the Syracuse team perfect. And that is so unusual because if Jimmy Boeheim's team had hit a few more free throws last year down in New Orleans, we would be talking about them as the national champions instead of Indiana.
And Brent, if you look at their free throw shooting throughout the year, and we've thrown this graphic up there, they don't lose a ball game if they would shoot free throws anywhere near a reasonable percentage for a college team.
Jim Boeheim's tie is down as we start the second half.
His head was turned too when Cycli was shooting that free throw. Good concentration by Cycli.
Now let's set this Rhode Island lineup. Owens, he's known as Silk, number 10 out of Brooklyn. He brings it up with Garrick, the guards.
Notice how he used that screen off Colson's back.
Cena is there along with Evans and Colson.
Very well drilled ball club in their offense. When you have guards like this, you can do so many different things.
Stephen Thompson out on the floor along with Sherman Douglas. There's Garrick. He's been the leader all afternoon. He's got a great physique on him. He was a superb high school football player. There he is.
MVP of the Atlantic 10 tournament, even though Temple won that tournament. Played sensational basketball down there in West Virginia.
You'll see Temple tomorrow high noon against the Hoyas. There's Thompson, what he does.
You notice, Brent, Rhode Island doesn't get real aggressive when a guy goes inside defensively. They have a short bench. They don't wear themselves out on the defensive end of the floor.
This is Cena. Transferred from Seton Hall, putting it on the floor. Inside. No ball, but an offensive rebound now.
Oh, that goes.
It did not. Rhode Island can't keep it alive, and Coleman came out, but they are battling away on that glass. They're undersized, but their heart is big.
Well, that was a lucky break for Sherman Douglas because, again, Owens coming from nowhere to knock that ball off.
3 on Cena.
Fouls on American Cena is third.
You know, Garrick reminds me a lot of Larkin from Xavier in regard to not only the way he looks, but the type of body he has and the cool way he plays in the offensive end of the floor.
Same kind of shoulder development.
Very
Here's how he did against Macon.
Yep.
The great Mark Macon. See, Thompson again on the inside. That's where the majority of his 12 points have come, right down there. It is 60-54 now. Second half. First of our triple header here. Round 2 underway in the NCAA tournament.
They're making Cycli work a little bit on the
offensive foul is called against Colson. That's his third.
Used just a little arm push to try to go around Cycli. There it is, no question about it. Didn't gain an advantage with the play, however.
So Kenny Green checks in and Cena sits.
This is their biggest club they can put on the floor, Brent. Green, of course, was very, very good in the first half.
They dump it into Cycli on the turnaround. He's short of everything, but Coleman and Thompson both underneath, and it was Stephen Thompson who came away and drew the foul.
Stevie Thompson's had quite a run here the last 6 or 7 games of the year.
First. Billy, what about the lineup later this afternoon?
Well, the North Carolina-Loyola game is going to be very interesting to see if Loyola can handle J.R. Reed inside and if Carolina can do anything whatsoever to shut off that tremendous offensive power of Loyola. They really get the ball down the court well and have so many guys can score in the perimeter.
Thompson missing the first here at the 17:43 mark. Now he draws them to within 5.
What's amazing to me about the Syracuse free throw shooting, we've seen them so much this year, most of the guys have pretty good stroke. Why they shoot so poorly, I'll never know.
Owens, and he is fouled. Douglas fouled him from the side. That's his first of the game. And again, Sherman Douglas under the weather. And you know, with the drug testing rules, they've had to be very careful about the medicine they administer. As a matter of fact, they were telling us that under normal conditions, they would have given him something different, a little bit stronger, but they are very fearful that Sherman might flunk the drug test, so he has gone without anything. He told me shortly before the game that he felt a little bit better than he did the other day against North Carolina A&T, but he does seem to be dragging just a bit. He is far from being 100% here this afternoon.
And Brett, on that issue, you would think that there'd be something that could be done there where the doctor prescribes a drug that even if it showed up, would not disqualify a player from playing. This is the second year you've had some guys. Remember, Duke's team last year was under the weather a great deal. Quinn Snyder will be playing in the next game, and I really don't think that's fair.
Douglas hounded by that pressure. They get it into row, and Coleman slips it to Cycling. Foul down on the inside, and that's the 4th foul now on Bonzie Colson, the 6'9" postman, and Penders must get Cena back in the game. Unhappy with that.
And this is a real problem for Tom Penders, not only to have to go ahead and make that move size-wise, but the fact that it really takes away the things that he can do the rest of the way in this game, because if a guy gets a little tired, he has a problem with that short bench.
Look at the team fouls here in the second half. Started out 4-0, you might recall, in the first half, and then Syracuse drew the next 4. Don Rutledge, the referee here this afternoon. He's a veteran. He's a good one.
And Brent, many times when you get tired, you start getting those reach fouls, and they're piling up early.
Here's the young man who spent the first 10 years of his life in Beirut, Lebanon. Crowds don't bother him, he said, because you haven't heard noise until you hear a bomb going off. 17-20 now, 62-57. Foul problem for Rhode Island with one of their big men.
Stevie Thompson.
Owens missing. He has not been as accurate as Garrett this afternoon. Cena gets it inside, however.
Again, the interior passing. Doing a great job. Cena just going right by.
And Evans shooting the layup for a 64-57 advantage. Douglas throws it up for Cycling. As good as any guard in the country, confidently one of the big men. Cycling was hit in the eye the other day in the North Carolina A&T.
Thought he started really doing the job in the second half on the boards against A&T. He put on quite a show here the other day. Must have been a thrill for those guys to play here in the Dean Dome.
Green muscles in. He'll shoot a couple of free throws on that 3rd foul by Cycling.
We talked all day about the great passing on the interior in regard to Rhode Island. I watched Cena comes across. Perfect little bounce pass on the inside. All day long we've seen it. Cena, Evans, Green. All 3 of them doing a good job inside. Colson, when he was in the ball game.
For 2 shots.
It certainly is not always size that does the job on the inside in the college game. The quickness, leaping ability, and the timing. It's amazing what Boise State did the other night in that rally against Michigan. And you'll be watching the Wolverines a little bit later in a great matchup against Florida. Gary Grant and Vernon Maxwell, that should be a dandy.
Again, back gives them an opportunity to go back to their 2-2-1 press that was pretty effective early on in the ball game.
7-point advantage. Here they come aggressively after Douglas, who certainly is by far their best ball handler. The lob again for Cycling. He'll shoot it. That's a pretty high percentage shot.
It really is. Excellent job by Stevie Thompson to let that ball drop. And he knew that Cycling was positioned well inside. Garrick had no chance against him.
Even though they have led all the way, you now get the feeling it'll be uphill for Rhode Island because of the size disadvantage. Turned it over.
You can feel that mode changing, can't you, Brent?
You sure can.
And you know, some of it may be getting a little tired out there, too. This is really a high-tempo ball game. Syracuse has lost the last 11 times an opponent scored over 100 points, and that goes back over 20 years. But you can feel Rhode Island slowing down a little bit here. They may get their second win, however.
Cycling with 23 points, sent it back to Duncan, who was off. But Coleman gets an offensive rebound, and now they're getting to those balls that Rhode Island pulled away in the first half. Douglas missing, and coming away with it is Cena. Owens breaks ahead of him.
That's the quickest I've seen Owens move here in the second half. He's going to have to start looking for a shot a little bit more.
He went the entire game the other day against Missouri, as did Garrett.
He's got a clear out now.
There he is. There it is. Did you see him with the right-handed dribble? That story that we told you about in the first half with that bullet still in the left elbow?
But one thing he did during that time is use the right hand more to pass with and dribble with, and that's very unorthodox. As you watched him get into that key area, the right-handed dribble, and then suddenly, bam, up comes the left-handed shot. That makes him tougher. Inside now to Cyclay. This is easy for Ronnie. That's 25 points.
Great offensive pass that time by Coleman. It was an excellent pass from there, that high-low against that 2-3 zone. Really causing problems. But as long as Owens and Garrett can go one-on-one out on the outside, they're just going to try to outscore Syracuse. They can't handle them defensively.
Here's Green moving on Cyclay.
Nice play by Tommy Penders there. He called that shot. Cena asking to come out of the game. He needs a breather.
The fake, Douglas now gives it up to Duncan, and here's the three. Cena's rebound. Down come the Rams. It's Garrett. It's right around one defender and pulls up with a jump shot.
I don't believe he can miss a shot, Brent.
21 for Tom Garrett.
He just drills everything. It just looks like radar out there.
There's the lob. Coleman this time.
Cena just put his head down at 6'5". He just can't stay with him. He's very tired. He's asked to come out. But Tom Penders doesn't have anybody to put in right now, so he's just going to have to suck it up.
You see him at the top of the screen. He has the ball right now. He quickly sent it back.
He's been doing a lot of ball handling here.
Taking their breath this trip down the floor, if you will. And Green goes strong that time. Wanted the foul call. It wasn't there on Cyclay. Douglas sends it over to Duncan.
Brent, what they're doing against Ronnie Cyclay is setting everybody up high, trying to clear out for Green on the inside down low to pick up that fourth foul on Cyclay to try to get him out of there. Here's Green again.
There it is. Comes up with the shot. Not there. Cyclay twice with fine defensive plays and did not foul him. Great pass to Thompson.
Tom Penders is going to have to go with the time. His guys are really wearing down against these bigger people, particularly Cena. Let's see if he's going to call it at half court.
Still a long way to go.
He called a clear out, Brent. He called a clear out for Garrett.
He also has a television timeout that he can use here quickly. He was trying to get to that. The Syracuse man trips, and so Douglas comes in all the way. No basket being waved off underneath. And Garrick was there committing his first personal foul. Douglas down on the floor. So we do have that television timeout. Tom Penders, not wanting to waste one, now gets it, and it's a moment of crisis here for the Rams.
Switching long-distance companies was a mistake.
We were trying to save money.
But time is money, too. What's happened to your call?
It's that weird, fast, busy signal again.
See, we made a mistake.
You don't have to spend $1 million to look like you did. Just catch the brand new beat, the all-new Chevy Cavalier.
Folks need a little help? And how will you be paying for that? American Express.
If you stop by our Minneapolis office tomorrow, you can pick up a new card.
I'm having some trouble checking into this hotel.
I can take care of it. Let me just talk to the hotel manager.
Thank you.
A friendly voice in the middle of the night. Membership has its privileges.
She's determined and ready, and now Debbie Thomas gets one last chance to dethrone Katerina. The World Figure Skating Championships next Saturday night.
Here in Chapel Hill, it is known simply as the Dean Dome. And what a great arena this is for second-round action here in the East region. with Syracuse closing back in on Rhode Island, 72-69. Take a look on our game summary there at the bottom, because that'll tell you how the game has been played. Garrick's a guard. He's high for Rhode Island with 21. Cycli, the big fella, inside, slamming away dunks and easy layups, and he's high for the game with 25 points. Douglas and the Orangemen shooting 75%. We went away. Douglas was gasping for air, playing under the weather, but it is Rhode Island, Billy, very tired here this half, and still 12 minutes to go.
Well, that timeout really helped Cena. He's back in the ball game now. He's had a hard time banging down inside against Cycli. Right now, that's who he's matched up with in his 2-3 zone.
Douglas has scored but 4 points, and of course he's had to work hard at the defensive end against Garrick Adams. There he is, lobbing it back inside. Playing there all day.
When you saw the matchup 2-3 zone, Garrick tried to go down inside when Douglas went through, and nobody there to pick up.
Now the Orangemen followers who have traveled here to North Carolina start coming alive as their team is closed to within 1. They're on an 8-0 run right now.
Boy, Duncan and Garrick really doing a lot of banging around on the other side.
Coleman,
big switch.
Also banging Green on the inside.
There was a switch of defensive assignments that time. Not wanting to get Cycli as fourth. Looks like Jimmy Boeheim has switched Coleman over on him. Coleman a little argumentative position here, saying I didn't get in the first lick.
On Coleman, that is his 3rd personal.
Only the 3rd team foul in this half.
He got into foul trouble against North Carolina A&T, and Boeheim brought him back at a critical point in the game, and he played out with 4 fouls and did a good job. And there was another foul going against Syracuse. That was against Duncan over there on the far side, his 2nd.
Duncan, a powerful young man, really had Cena in the corner, and a good double team.
Well, Syracuse is up. That's 68. It has not been an aggressive inside defense employed by Rhode Island. Billy Packer is holding one, short-handed. Owens.
Nice
Green with an offensive rebound. Let's lean in.
Boy, great block out on his part. He put Coleman too far under the basket.
Thompson of Syracuse comes right back. Missouri closed in on Rhode Island in the first round, and then the Rams put them away in the second half.
That's a 3.
Not there, but Thompson's got an easy offensive rebound.
Evans is on that side of the zone. They're very small in the back of the zone right now with Evans and Cena.
Here's Green leaning in again. He drew the foul that time from Coleman, and that is number 4 on Derek Coleman.
That's going to probably bring Brower on into the ball game here. And you can bet that Tommy Penders, with Brower coming in, is going to go right back inside with Green. Coleman will have to sit. He knows it already. He's starting to walk off, although Brower is not off. Here he comes off the bench.
The winner of this game goes to the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and they'll play the winner of our second game here today, Duke against SMU. It is so unusual to see all the Duke fans here in Chapel Hill. But with North Carolina sent out to the West region, you'll see all those Duke sweatshirts down here in the Dean Dome. Dean Smith probably looks the other way. You don't want to see that.
Well, of course, they thought they were going to be here. And the tournament committee that said whoever wins the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament becomes the team that plays here.
And there they are, matched against Loyola Marymount, coached by Paul Westhead. He brought an NBA offense to college basketball, and they are so entertaining. We'll see that action later this afternoon. Green puts the free throw away. Billy, what's your feeling? Can Rhode Island hold them off, or are they in deep trouble here?
I don't know. You notice the press was a lot weaker than it was in the first half. Syracuse was a lot more firepower out this ball game.
It took a while, but there were still 3 white jerseys right there at the glass. Tying the game at 75 here at the 10:15 mark now as we start the second round of this, the 50th NCAA tournament.
It's Brower on Green right now. I think that Tommy Penner's going to probably go back to more one-on-one stuff with Owens and Garrett. He's got to figure out a way to keep outscoring Syracuse because he can't stop them down the other end of the floor. You notice he slowed the game down considerably from what we saw in that first half. There's Green on Brower.
There's the drop into Green. He's got it. Chance for the three-pointer as he comes to the line.
Not in the starting lineup, but certainly a starter. There's Brower pushing. Good job by Green to get position on him inside. He just goes over the top of Brower, who racks him over the arm. Outstanding player.
Tom Penders wanting to get the ball back down in the hole, calling so many plays over there on the sideline. One of the bright young coaches in the eastern part of the country. There are a lot of other schools interested in him, too.
They said he was the freshman of the year in '87, was a medical redshirt, broke his thumb early on, only played 5 games the year before. An outstanding young talent. And they stay in that 2-3 matchup. You know, they started off with a little man-to-man, but they just realized they couldn't handle that inside game of Cycli and Coleman.
Cycli missing that time, and Green couldn't get a handle. Rhode Island gets it into Brower's hands, and that's what you don't want to do when you dive for a loose ball underneath.
Evans didn't realize till this moment as he turned around that he had thrown that ball. You never want to throw it back under the other team's basket. You're better off taking it with you right out of bounds. You see the play. Any place but there. Brower powers it in.
And Brower, big Derek, the senior, comes to the line against Penders and the Rhode Island team.
Tommy Penders obviously very concerned here. He's the Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year this year.
Their first lead of the game at the 9:24 mark. Syracuse up 78-77. We'll be right back.
From the Industrial Tool Division of Black & Decker. Tough ball and roller bearings, 2 speed ranges, and a powerful 5 amps that can deliver over 49,000 beats per minute. Ask a man who's used one lately. Nothing beats a Black & Decker. Now, everywhere in the world you can dial direct. You can dial direct with MCI. Everywhere.
Waka?
Until you call, you'll never know how much better a long-distance company can be.
What the hell?
Yeah. Get the brakes done?
Uh-huh.
You Midas-sized them?
I didn't think it mattered.
Didn't matter? Halfway up the Himalayas and it didn't matter?
Midas-size your brakes and get it right the first time.
Syracuse now ahead for the first time. Foul trouble. 3 players with 4 fouls, including Derek Coleman of Syracuse. He's on the bench, but 2 of the big men for Rhode Island, Cena and Colson, with 4 apiece. Now, the one player who needs to come alive here for Coach Penders is Carlton Owens. He is only 5 of 13 here this afternoon, and he shot nearly 50% during the season for this Atlantic 10 school.
And Brenny's only 2 for 8 in the second half. Between the 2 of them, Garrick and Owens are 4 for 12 in the second half, so you can see how it's been wearing down. I think Tommy Penders may set some clear-outs for him here. He's got Sherman Douglas on. Here's a clear-out right now. They go 1-4.
Garrett comes around to the inside. Now he uses the screen. Hesitates. Was very patient. That's 23 points for Garrett. And against the pressure, this is the man they want to have the ball, and that's Douglas.
By spreading it out in that press, of course, it takes Syracuse some time to go down to that low-power game they've got.
Now it'll be down inside where Syracuse will try to pound it. They double up on Cycli.
Giving Thompson a shot.
They give him that shot all game long. Brower now gets it into Cycli. He makes the supposed to move and missed it, but it's right there. Nobody got to the other side, and then he traveled coming back. Committed the turnover when he had an easy layup in hand.
Well, you see, he has the inside position, turns, loses the handle. He put it down beforehand, but walked right before he put that dribble down. Pretty hard to miss one of those.
Rhode Island back on top now. And away from the ball, the foul is against Brower.
Now, Syracuse has got a real problem now. They have no way to stop Green because they don't want Cycli picking up his 4th. And he's eaten up Brower and did the same with Coleman.
So Boeheim must consider exactly what to do. Remember, the critical point of the North Carolina A&T game was when Boeheim reinserted Coleman with 4 personal fouls. The game was tied at 50 when Boeheim made that move, and according to many observers, that was the critical strategic move by the coach. Here's Green, played a fine game, missing the free throw. Cycling away with a miss. Of course, at the end of this game, Billy and I will select the Chevrolet most valuable player from each team, and Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to both Rhode Island and Syracuse, and that will assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields.
Syracuse just won in 1 set, bringing Brower across, beating the ball, looking to dump down into Cycling. Green on him.
Douglas off a move, and quickly Owens came over defensively, but that left Duncan as the open man. He missed it that time, and down on the inside it goes against Brower. His third.
Tommy Pender's doing a great job in his zone, teaching his guys block-out responsibility, and you'll see it right here. Much smaller team, but watch Cena. Even though he's in the zone, he puts the body on Brower. Brower never moves to go around him, picks up another foul. I mentioned Pender's being Coach of the Year. He's the Coach of the Year from last year. Of course, this year, you have a hard time being Coach of the Year when you got a John Chaney in the league, #1 in the nation. So not to take anything away from Tom.
There is Tommy. We'll see John Chaney tomorrow. You're going to see one of the better coached basketball teams in the land. As a matter of fact, both of them are. John Chaney and John Thompson do a terrific job. And it'll be interesting to watch. Thompson will throw a lot of different players out there. Temple will go with their normal 5. Georgetown thinks they can shut Macon down. They really believe that with an aggressive defense, they are very confident that they can do the job. You want to be there at noon tomorrow and see what happens when Temple and Georgetown meet here from Hartford, Connecticut. It'll be a dandy. It's 80-78. Rhode Island fell behind, and they have regained the lead.
Brent, just when you thought Rhode Island was running out of steam, they seem to be coming back in this ball game right now.
Green a little too aggressive on Thompson that time. That's his second personal foul.
Pretty good looking block here by Green. Stevie Thompson doesn't have many of these taken away from him. Look at Green coming over. He might get a little piece of the body here. He got him with the body, but a pretty good block with the hands.
Penders knows that Green cannot get into serious foul trouble. 2 of his 3 big men playing with 4 fouls. Thompson struggling again at the free throw line.
He brought Colson back in. It gives him a little more power in the back line because he's got the size over Evans.
Syracuse at the line today is now 10 of 13. Rhode Island is 13 of 20. Owens coming with a scoop move, and it would have counted.
That's going to be Cycling's 4th. He can't believe it. Now, what happened on this play? There was a solid screen, and you'll see Ronnie Cycling try to come out to help on the solid screen. Owens recognizes he's got the big guy and just takes him. Now, what? Cycling going with him. Got a little piece of the ball. Kind of a chintzy foul, but that's his 4th. Now, Jimmy Boeheim probably going to make the move here to put Coleman in, take Cycling out for a couple of minutes. A lot of time to play, 7:30 to go on the clock.
Now, what they have to be careful of is who takes Green, because they'll drop it off inside and let him operate at a low post area against Cycling and Coleman. That has been a big play that Penders has used here today.
That tooth that you see missing there is from Ramon Rivas. When you get your head in the way of one of his elbows, you're lucky that that's all that was missing.
Ramon Rivas, one of the big men for the Temple Owls. You'll see him tomorrow.
Nice smile.
Yeah, delightful. Delightful young man.
Number 2 all-time scorer of Rhode Island.
They bring Evans back in. And Cena sits down. Cena with 4 personal fouls. Cycling now sitting with his 4. Both of them out, so it's up to Coleman here. It's 82-79. We've got 7:30 to go in regulation.
He's going to have problems getting it up here. Yes, sir.
Kenny Green with a hand on it, tries to save it, but he stepped out of bounds. Almost had it. Let me get you updated on the foul trouble. 4 players with 4. They have called a lot of fouls in this region all along. They have not been so tight with the whistles up in Hartford. May let Georgetown and Temple play a little bit tomorrow. 7-10 now.
Now what you have with Coleman in there instead of Cycling, let's see what the offense. They're going to have to get some offense from the outside.
Quickly collapsing that time. This is Douglas. He's been held in check much of the afternoon here.
Those 2 guards out front, they do the job offensively, but they're doing a great job at the top of the key also with their defense. Garrick and Owens, tough shot. Oh,
what a great shot by Sherman Douglas. He looks unorthodox, but he gets the job done. Only 6 points, but that's a big 2. Moving into within 1. Owens now missing. They pound the glass, and there's a big foul underneath, and it goes against Rhode Island.
Now, Tommy Penders, I'm very surprised that time down the floor they didn't hold it up and go back to Green with Coleman down inside, try to get him out of there.
That is the 3rd personal on Green, and 2 quick ones here. Derek Brower coming to the free throw line. A chance to put Syracuse ahead. Shooting the 1-and-1. They're down by a point. Green off, and it'll be the Rams.
Let's see if they don't go down inside for Green. Use a little bit of clock, try to get him open.
Green standing there like he's a little tired over here on this side. Actually, underneath, you see, now he kind of breaks out. Operating on Brower, comes up. He drew the foul that time.
Great call by Tommy Penders. Now, what he's doing, he's taken. Many times you see a coach use guards one-on-one. What he's doing right now against Syracuse, figuring they have nobody can match up with Green, is he's giving a little camouflage with his guards and going inside once Green has got position. Now, here you see it. He's got Brower on him. Nobody from Syracuse has been able to handle him all day. He doesn't make the shot, but he gets Brower with another foul.
Green has scored 16 points this afternoon. He is 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Stands in against Boeheim. Rhode Island up a point.
Had 19 rebounds against Duquesne in the ball game this year.
Coming up next now, right after this game, Florida, Michigan, Memphis State, Purdue, and then we'll come back for SMU, Duke. SMU, Duke, the winner of that game to play the winner of this game. It's 84-81 on Green's free throws. And they put some pressure on in the backcourt.
Not a good pass.
Thompson saved it, though, and got it into Douglas's hand.
See, sure who's going to throw behind the back.
Only 4 Syracuse points have come from the backcourt this half. Indeed. Coleman's there. They let him have it.
Green was going to try to go for a block. Great job by Derek Coleman just to power it down inside.
Now let's see if they go to Green again. He wants to set a screen or something out on top of the spot. Green's out top of the circle.
They're not wearing him out by making him go in each spot.
Owens.
He's got a double team on Owens.
There's Evans, the small man, with a great passing ability. And that is number 5. Derek Coleman fouls out of the game.
And now Boeheim has to come back with Cycling. And again, the great interior passing of this club that's so well coached.
He fouls out with 16 points and 9 rebounds. And credit that tremendous interior passing. The small forward who can create so much underneath for a basketball team. And it was Evans doing it this time, Billy.
What happened? Brower gets out there, which leaves the inside open. And then Evans, who is always looking for a teammate, goes to the weak side to Green, and at least Coleman did stop the dunk.
Now, Coleman was allowed to score at the other end. He should have remembered that. He probably should have let him have the layup because he's got to stay in there. 5:30 to go now, and it's up to Ronnie Cycli. He comes back with 4 fouls. And Rhode Island leading 84-83.
They're not going to put Cycli in yet, Brent. They're going to leave him over there, and they're coming back with a very small team now. Brower, the only man with size. That leaves Rhode, Duncan, Stevie Thompson, and Douglas, so it's a very small team. So now Tommy Penders has what he wanted, a matchup that he can play with.
An interesting move by Boeheim as he squats down to talk to Cycli. Penders must contend with this smaller, quicker lineup. There's no question but that Rhode Island has been tired here in the second half.
Well, you look up there at the score, they had 85. Cena back in the ball game, who's done a fine job, not statistically so much, but with good blocking out inside. Composure on the sidelines, don't you? It's a real solid confidence.
And his team plays that way.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, it's just reflective of his move.
regulation.
See what he does? He changes his defense now back to play man-to-man. With this smaller lineup, he's not worried about the Cycli-Coleman inside power. That hit off Douglas' leg. Great play by Owens.
Definitely not 100% physically.
Now, Sherman Douglas has got to realize that Owens is quick also, and he can't try to take over it one-on-one with him. And Syracuse goes to their 2-3 zone with Brower down inside. Now, look for the three-point shooting.
So critical that they protect the ball. Only 4 turnovers here this afternoon by this Rhode Island team of the Atlantic 10 Conference. Now they move it around the perimeter. Cena at the top. He has good outside range. Don't be surprised by that shot. He took it outside. He can hit that. The pull-up now by Duncan is not there. Brower trying to run it down, and he does.
Great board by Brower.
He puts Syracuse back into a deadlock at the 4:30 mark.
Brent, I think that Rhode Island can get a three-point shot for Garrick or Owens against this 2-3 zone when they cut through without the ball.
He bought a few more seconds for Ronnie Cycli before he has to bring him in with those 4 personals. You know he'll return soon. Cena moves it on the inside, and the foul is called as Evans comes. It's against Thompson, his 4th.
Thought he was right on the ball with that play.
So did Jim Boeheim. Yep. Cycli in now with the 4 personals and 4:15 to go.
Now the hand is part of the ball when he goes up with his 2-hand dunk. Another great interior pass. But watch Stevie Thompson. That's all ball right there. That should have been a good block. Matter of fact, the official didn't have a good look at it.
Colson coming in. He's playing with 4 personal fouls. Brower is out there along with Cycli, Thompson, Douglas, and Duncan. 11 points for Evans this afternoon. 3 of 4 from the line.
Let's see if Tommy Penders goes back to play in the matchup zone with Cycli in the game. He brought Colson in so he could still match up fairly well.
Brower giving it up to the point man in the general. Brings it on down. 86-85. Rhode Island at the point.
Stayed in the man-to-man. Green on Cycli.
They seal up Cycli with a little double team collapsing, so Thompson takes it, and it's blocked by Green. Great defensive play underneath.
You know what was so great about that, Brent? He was guarding Cycli and came over to help. Now, Green seems a little tired. There's the 3.
They got it.
Against that zone, Garrick and Owens are really going to be available to get that 3 on the wing.
Into Cycli. Brower comes out. Thompson at the baseline. Douglas fakes the 3 and drew a foolish foul. Evans jumped into him over there. He knows it. 17 fouls against Rhode Island.
You know, Evans and Green were both Atlantic 10 Freshmen of the Year. It's kind of like Bobby Crimmon's deal down there at Georgia Tech, where every year he gets that Rookie of the Year in the league. Eventually, that means nice talent.
Glad you mentioned him. He draws a tough Richmond team tomorrow. Georgia Tech up at Hartford. That'll be game 2 right after the duel of the heavyweights. John Thompson and John Chaney.
Indiana should have remembered Richmond because they saw them beat an outstanding Auburn team with Charles Barkley a few years ago in the same region.
At that free throw line, 10 of 15. They missed this time, but there is Evans with the offensive rebound and almost a left-handed run around. Cycli trying to come out. It's Garrick. Oh, and he is fouled by Douglas, and down Tom Garrick crashes to the floor.
But there was a case where Duncan, because of his strength, knocked the ball away from his teammate, Ronnie Cycli, who had an easy opportunity to start the fast break. And we'll see it right here. Cycli's going to have the ball. It gets knocked away by his own teammate. Garrick, who's been everywhere today, picked it up. Sherman Douglas did the only thing he could, try to come up with a block, a little bit too late.
There's Tom Garrick Sr. listening now to his daughter as she tells him. Stacy Garrick explains to him exactly what's happening. The blind father of Tom Garrick enjoying every moment here. Tom told me before the game what a great relationship he has with his father. They talk all the time. And what an inspiration, he said, my dad has been to me. And you can just imagine.
80% free throw shooter. That concentration.
Just a great, great player. 2:57. It's a 5-point lead for the Rams.
We're not a company.
But outstanding people come to us every day.
People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts.
People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual.
People who become your friends for life. People just like you.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
The Army.
We're the armed forces.
It's a great place to start.
Ponchatoula, Louisiana. Bayou country. Places like this make you glad you take your car to Mr. Goodwrench, the GM service specialist. Mr. Goodwrench uses genuine General Motors parts, the kind your car was designed to use. Because Mr. Goodwrench knows in places like this, the last thing you need to worry about is your car. Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better. No one.
Chevy S10 invites you to own the street with the biggest engine ever offered in a compact pickup. The most V6 power and torque available in a compact truck. And a price to make your heart beat faster than ever.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
Round 2 of the NCAA Basketball Championship on CBS. We welcome those of you along the Pacific Network who have joined us for a great day of college basketball. That score is accurate. Rhode Island has trailed in this game against Syracuse only once, 78-77. The timeouts remaining for Rhode Island coach Tom Penders and Jim Boeheim of Syracuse, 3 apiece. No fouls to give. If we've got a jump ball situation, it'll go to Syracuse. Derek Coleman, the big power forward against Penders' Rhode Island team, has fouled out. And Tom Penders has coached a masterful game here this afternoon. At one point, they were up by as many as 15 points. Syracuse wearing their home whites. They bring it up against the Rhode Island pressure. The Rhode Island guards have been the story here this afternoon. Carlton Owens and Tom Garrick. Syracuse has had a lot of points down on the inside. That's how it's unfolded. Syracuse trailing by 5. This is Brower, who has replaced Coleman. Here is Cycli. He falls away and he travels. Cycli complaining.
But what he's got to understand is Derek Brower is not being played. Green and Colson went back in on Cycli, so Cycli's got to pop that ball out. Let Brower come to meet it.
Well, along with Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger, and we certainly welcome you to this NCAA basketball tournament. This is the star for Rhode Island, Garrick, number 22. He scored 27 points here this afternoon. This is his guard mate, Carlton Owens, shipping it on the inside. The big man for him is Kenny Green, operating on the turnaround. 21 points for Green.
And Brent, you wouldn't want to have to chase these 2 guards for 2 minutes.
And that's what Syracuse will have to do.
You start thinking about some threes here. Bad shot.
Brower runs down the miss, however, doesn't go in, and Garrick reaching in on him with 3 personals. Now, there has been a foul problem for both of these teams. See, Coleman is out, as I told you. Cycli, Brower, and Thompson, 4 apiece. For Rhode Island, Mergen Cena, and also Bonzi Colson with 4 apiece. They have lost no one. Coleman must watch.
And, of course, you don't mind, if you're Tom Penders, to see Brower on that foul line.
A timeout is called here. Syracuse has missed the last 2 front ends when they've been shooting the 1-and-1. We'll be right back.
Here's to the winners, those who move mountains. Here's to the miracles they make us see.
Holiday Inn welcomes you, the people who know that winning at life is working hard at it and living it fully day after day.
Here's to the winners, all of us can be.
Holiday Inn salutes you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way.
There are 3 nevers in sportscasting. Never wear your best suit to a locker room celebration.
never yell it's out of here before it's out of here. And even if you have to say beyond Kalana to Benitez to Balboni, never, never let them see you sweat.
Introducing Dry Idea for men, the most powerful wetness protection available to man.
Sweat belongs on the ball field, not in the broadcast booth.
New Dry Idea for men in sports scent and classic scent. Never let them see you sweat.
The Honda Accord, the Honda Civic, the Honda Prelude, and now the 5-speed mid-engine overhead valve Honda riding mower. It transforms cutting the grass into a memorable Sunday drive. The Honda riding mower. It could be the car of the year.
Well, yesterday it was Richmond taking out Indiana. Now Rhode Island with a chance to beat Syracuse, Billy.
Well, we've talked all day about the guards, and they've been outstanding in Owens and Garrick. But this fella, Kenny Green, right here, has been the difference in the ball game, and the fact that here with a turnaround jumper, he scores again inside. And what Tom Penders did so well is exploit the inability of Coleman and Cycli to handle him.
Brower hitting the front end. Cena checking back in for Rhode Island. That's 11 free throws for Syracuse out of 16 attempts. Rhode Island with 21 points at the free throw line. And that is Green getting it into the hands of Owens.
Brent Cycli not in the ball game right now for Syracuse.
Green almost losing it. Now gets it into the hands of Evans. And here's one of the fine guards they'll chase. Inside. Coming back out was Evans.
Boy, you've got two guards that shoot way on up in the 80s from the foul line. Tough to handle them with their great ball handling ability.
Douglas just put one of them on the line with his third personal foul. Facing Carlton Owens.
What Jimmy Boeheim is going to try to do now is to substitute offense and defense type players. Cycli to be used on the offensive end. He comes back with Harid also. It's going to be very difficult for Syracuse to take the ball away from this spread offense now.
Owens has hit all 4 of his free throws. This the front end of the 1-and-1. Takes a bad moment to miss for the first time here in the second half. 92-86, a minute and a half now for Douglas and the Syracuse Orangemen. Into Cycli, backing his way in, using the turnaround, not there. And it's Rhode Island with the ball and knocked out of bounds by Syracuse. It'll go over to the Rams. That was Herman Harid who checked into the game.
He's going to come out now. He's just in there for defense. They're going to take Cycli out. They don't want Cycli to pick up his 5th foul. You're going to use him on the offensive end. Keep Harid in there for defense.
Rhode Island will want Owens or Garrick to get back at that free throw line. Both guards on the floor. They get it over to Evans, and quickly Rowe fouls him. They'll put the forward on the line and not one of the guards.
Evans a 74% free throw shooter. As a team, Brent, they're shooting 74%, so it's pretty hard to pick out somebody who can't deliver from that free throw line.
The winner of this game goes to the East Regional at East Rutherford, New Jersey. They'll take on the winner of the Duke-SMU game. And so for those of you who have just joined us, still a lot of action coming your way. How about from Salt Lake? Florida against Michigan. Grant against Maxwell. Memphis State will be taking on Purdue. Can Gene Cady go all the way? Then we'll come back here to see Mike Krzyzewski and Duke battle against SMU. And a reminder again for those of you tomorrow, be with us at noon. Georgetown and John Thompson go at it against Temple and John Chaney. Georgetown feeling that they could shut down Mark Macon with that aggressive defense. Plan to send 2 and 3 different defenders at him tomorrow. It'll be something to watch from Hartford.
And Brent, Syracuse has to think the rest of the way 3-point shots.
Evans came through for Coach Tom Penders. Still as calm and cool as a cucumber over there, believing all the world that he should beat Syracuse. That's what he said after the Missouri game. I didn't think this was an upset.
Look at that perimeter defense, not giving him any chance for a 3.
Douglas off the penetration, got it down, claiming he was fouled, and the timeout is what he wanted in that situation. He wasn't complaining. He wanted a timeout. He's got it now. It's 1:08. Time working against Syracuse. We'll be right back.
To those
who with a boundless energy and burning spirit live to be the best, comes a salute from those of us who live by the same values, the U.S. Armed Forces.
I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to college on the new GI Bill. You serve full-time in the armed forces or part-time in the reserves, and you earn a lot of money for tuition.
The U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
Like the best things in life, the classic value of Caprice has stood the test of time. But the fact that you can still get all this room, comfort, and big-hearted luxury at a Chevrolet price could be the best surprise of all.
The heartbeat of America.
Caprice Classic Bro.
That's the day, Chevrolet.
Honey, game's gonna start soon.
I think I'll give the lawn a quick cut.
Good luck.
When you're long on grass and short on time, you need a mower with a Briggs & Stratton engine.
Dad, the pregame show's on!
It'll start quickly and work hard till the job's done.
Sure hope he makes it.
Yes, there he is.
Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
One of the great palaces for college basketball, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the Dean Smith Center here, with Rhode Island closing in on an upset. It's been that kind of a season. One unpredictable score after another. Both coaches with 2 timeouts remaining. And Syracuse would get the ball out of bounds in case of a jump ball situation.
Well, there's a man that has been sitting on the far end of the Syracuse bench that I think that his face explains the situation right now, the crisis for the Orangemen.
The minute 8 to play. It's 94-88. And Garrick is fouled by Thompson. He'll come on up here and shoot as Stephen Thompson joins Derek Coleman on the sideline as he, too, fouls out.
And, Brent, what you've got, and we talk about it so often in ball games of this magnitude, are teams that shoot well from the free throw line. You come down the last 2-3 minutes of the ball game and you put 80-85% free throw shooters on the line, you've got a problem.
Well, Garrick has certainly been the player of the game for Rhode Island here this afternoon against Syracuse. He has scored 27 points.
That goes with the 29 he had against Missouri.
Those of you who did just join us from the West Coast probably didn't get in on an earlier story. It's a marvelous story. Tom Garrick's father here this afternoon. He has been blind since the Second World War when he attempted to cover a landmine. He was sent to a hospital and he met a nurse who took such excellent care of him that he married her. Became the father of 8 children. That's one of the sons right there holding up number 1, and now they want Papa to raise them. Wave. He knows he's on television, and there they are. What a great story this has been here this afternoon. That's John Garrick, the brother. Stacy, the sister of Tom on the other side, holding her child. They are his eyes here this afternoon, if you will, and what a story they've had to tell about their brother. Tom Garrick at the line. 28 points for the afternoon here against Syracuse. He has been a cool hand Luke.
Interesting story. Here's a young guy that from the area wanted to go to Providence in the Big East, and they didn't see fit to give him the scholarship. He's doing the job here today.
Quickly, Syracuse must come down, getting near that 3-point time. There's the man Rhode Island tracking his row. Evans going right after him. They don't give him any daylight out there.
Great perimeter defense.
All over Sherman Douglas now. They know it's 3 time. Douglas running it down. He's got it. Takes it from the corner. Not there.
They've got to come back outside.
Duncan fires one up, and he hits it to keep him alive at the 41-second mark. He fires in a 3. Sherman Douglas has played courageously in the 2 games down here at Chapel Hill. He's been under the weather, concerned about perhaps failing the NCAA drug test, so he did not attempt to take any strong medicine down here.
Brent, isn't that their 5th timeout, so they won't be able to stop the clock again? They have 1 more left. They have 1 more left, so they've got to be thinking 3-point shot, and they've got to probably foul early. Because these 2 ball handlers, you can't take it away from them.
Now, Coach Tom Penders has been at Rhode Island only 2 years. He took this program over just 12 days before the season was to begin. And in 1 year, he turned it over.
Right, Brendan Malone went down and joined Rick Pitino with the New York Knicks. One of the things impresses me not only about Tom Penders, but any coach, Brent, when you look at a program before they got there and then see that everyone that he's been to, he's turned around on a positive note.
We can remind everyone, still ahead of us, we've got that great Florida-Michigan game coming your way from Salt Lake. Florida shorthanded the other night in beating St. John's, but they welcome back their point guard, Ronnie Montgomery. But the duel you want to watch in that game, and Dick Stockton and Billy Cunningham set the scene for you at our halftime. You're going to watch Gary Grant of Michigan go up against Vernon Maxwell of Florida.
Two of the best guards in the country. Michigan went to sleep the other night in their ball game. Grant did not have a good game. But you know, Brent, when you look back over his, this will be his 4th year in the NCAA tournament. He has not played well in the NCAA tournament. He and Glenn Rice the other night just couldn't get it going. Boise State gave them all they could handle.
Now, Penders wants to have the ball wind up in the hands of Garrick or Owens if they can in this situation. They know that Syracuse will be fouling, and they want one of the slick shooting guards to move to the free throw line. Green will inbound it. Owens was covered. There's Evans, and he quickly gets it up to Owens as the clock ticks down.
There is not one.
Can't believe they're not getting him on the line quickly. Garrick gives it up, and here's Evans again, and they threw him land catch, and now they almost lose the ball on the far side. Garrick gives it to Green. Douglas. Low for the 3. He's got it. Syracuse won't quit. 13 seconds left on that clock. And they've got a chance if they can steal it and fire in a 3. It's 97-94. We'll be back in a moment.
It's a beautiful morning.
It's funny, but since McDonald's started serving hot handheld breakfasts, the world appears on everyone's doorstep by 7.
And just smile.
More folks are having breakfast with famous people.
Taking some clean, fresh air.
And the Pacific Ocean opens for business promptly at 9. Perhaps McDonald's sizzling bacon, hot McMuffins, and homemade biscuits can't take all the credit, but even the birds have noticed McDonald's is America's morning place.
Make red. Be red. Make blue. Be blue. Make colors as bright as life. Make colors feel like colors feel.
The brilliant colors of life. Trust RCA to bring them to you on Precision Performance Big Screen TV. Only from RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Prior to owning the Chevrolet, I had a Ford. Well, I switched to the Chevy because I liked the look better than the Ford. I found out that they had completely redid the truck. You need a 4-wheel drive truck. You don't want to have to get out and lock your wheels in. If you want to go into 4-wheel drive, you can just shift into it. This Chevrolet truck is the best vehicle I have ever owned.
Heartbeat of America. That's the Chevy truck.
If you don't believe it, just go out and try it yourself.
Now I'm Brent Musburger with Billy Becker. Billy, what's so impressive about Rhode Island's 27-6 record?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, 3 of their losses come to the #1 team in the nation, which is Temple, and they played excellent games in 2 out of those 3 against them. The other thing that's amazing, there you see they decided 3 points or less in those 5 games. But the other thing, they are 21-4 on the road, which is an incredible statistic.
Derek Coleman watching from the sideline these final hectic moments as he is fouled out. Now they must get the ball inbounds. There's 3 men who handle it, and Garrick is fouled. On the pass from Green, 1 second ticks off that clock, and here comes an 80% free throw shooter, and Penders saying, that's the man I want at the line. Let's bring it to him.
Well, Brent, the last sequence in which Rhode Island got the ball up the court and just kept it moving so that they weren't even in a potential to be fouled. There you see a little prayer coming up. The father who really sees this stuff, you know
he does.
Yes, sir.
Does not miss a moment.
I was talking about that last sequence against the press. Just so well conceived the way they kept that ball moving.
Misses. Cena dives after it. Syracuse with a chance here. 8 seconds to go. They've got to hurry now and get the 3-pointer fired up. Duncan loses the handle, comes up with the shot. Not there.
Show me. Tell me. I have the money. I want to know what to drive.
Sports Center is brought to you by Office Depot, taking care of business with guaranteed low prices on thousands of brand name office supplies. And by Subaru, it's what to drive.
Bill, coming up next, Ohio State, Michigan, LSU, and Kentucky. John and Jimmy V standing by as your hosts. I'm Bob Lee.
I'm Charlie Steiner, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Don't sing the anthem.
Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor, Michigan. ESPN presents Super Tuesday from the Big Ten as the Ohio State Buckeyes face the 5th-ranked Wolverines of Michigan. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Super Tuesday. John Saunders along with Jim Valvano. What was Randy Ayers thinking when he made this schedule up in these back-to-back games?
John, you hate those games that start with at. They're bad games. Randy Ayers had at Indiana. He's got at Michigan. Michigan has not won at home since '90, but I think that Randy might think there's a guy named Jackson still in his lineup.
Yeah, Jimmy Jackson, who left after his junior year. He might have thought he was still there. Tell you what, Dale Brown is probably wishing he had a guy who left after his junior year as well, by the name of Shaquille O'Neal. He has to go in to face number 4 Kentucky without this Shaq tonight. That's at 9:30 Eastern time. That's game number 2 of the doubleheader. But first, it's game number 1, as it should be on Super Tuesday from the Big Ten. And Juwan Howard will try and tame the Buckeyes. That one is coming up right after this.
Tune in to Scripps Howard's Video Value channel for this week's birthday wishes, sponsored by Eagles Nest Studios, located on Broad Street. Wish your special someone a happy birthday by calling or visiting the office of Scripps Howard and receive a free 8x10 birthday portrait from Eagles Nest Studios. Also, through the Cutest Picture contest, Eagles Nest will give away a portrait package valued at over $100. Eagles Nest offers weddings, sports, and school pictures, as well as catering needs. Wish your loved ones a happy birthday. Call today for more information.
Rhythm and Cues, it's Rome's hottest night spot and Rome's hottest restaurant. We're open daily for lunch and dinner, Monday through Sunday, offering buffet dining and a varied menu. Steak and ribs, the pizza and lasagna.